At exactly 2:13, every morning, an empty bus crosses Blackwood Bridge. There is no driver behind the wheel. There are no lights inside. And according to the city, Route 13 was permanently cancelled 27 years ago. But last winter, a night shift nurse named Emily Carter got on that bus. 3 days later, police found her beneath Blackwood Bridge. She was alive. She was still holding her bus ticket, and she had aged more than 40 years. Emily Carter left St. Mercy Hospital shortly after 2 in the morning. Snow drifted through the empty streets, covering parked cars in thin white sheets. Her phone had died during her shift. The last subway had already departed. All she wanted was to go home, take a hot shower, and sleep. At the corner of Mason Street, Emily noticed an old bus shelter. She had walked past it hundreds of times, but had never seen a bus stop there. A faded metal sign hung above the shelter. It showed one number, 13. Emily checked her watch. 2:12 in the morning. Behind the glass wall sat an elderly woman wearing a dark red coat. Her hands rested neatly on a wooden cane. A thin veil covered her face. Emily stepped inside. "Does the night bus still stop here?" she asked. The woman did not move. For several seconds, the only sound was snow striking the glass. Then, the woman whispered, "It stops for those who have nowhere else to go." Through the falling snow, 2 pale headlights appeared. An old city bus approached without making a sound. No engine, no tires grinding against the snow, nothing. The bus stopped, and its doors folded open. Warm yellow light spilled onto the sidewalk. Above the windshield, the destination display read, Route 13, Blackwood. Emily climbed aboard. Before the doors closed, she looked back. The elderly woman remained inside the shelter, her face pressed against the glass. Beneath her black veil, Emily could see that she had no eyes. The bus smelled of wet wool and burned matches. A driver sat behind a scratched plastic screen. He wore an old-fashioned grey uniform and a round cap. Emily could not see his face in the mirror. Only darkness. "How much?" she asked. The driver raised one pale hand. In his palm lay a small brass coin. Emily searched her pockets and found a coin she did not recognize. It was cold enough to hurt her fingers. One side showed the number 13. The other showed a closed human eye. The driver took it. A paper ticket slid from the machine. It was blank except for her full name, Emily Ann Carter. "How do you know my name?" she asked. The driver closed the plastic screen. The bus began to move. 7 passengers sat inside. A young soldier with blood on his collar, a little girl holding a headless doll, a businessman whose suit dripped river water, a bride in a white dress covered in grey ash, 2 teenage boys sitting perfectly still, and an old man with a hospital bracelet around his wrist. None of them appeared to breathe. Outside, familiar streets slowly disappeared. Shops became abandoned buildings. Streetlights flickered over roads. Emily had never seen. Her dead phone suddenly turned on. There was no signal and no battery icon. Only a message. "Do not miss your stop." Emily pressed the red stop button. Nothing happened. She pressed it again. Every passenger turned toward her at the same time. The little girl smiled. "You can't leave before the bridge," she said, "because the driver hasn't decided if you're alive yet." The bus stopped outside a burned apartment building. The destination display changed to Miller Street, 1987. The bride stood. Ash fell from her clothes like black snow. As she passed Emily, she whispered, "If you hear someone you love outside, don't answer." The doors opened. A wedding party waited on the sidewalk. Every person was burning. Flames moved across their bodies without consuming them. They clapped silently as the bride stepped off. Then the burning crowd disappeared into the snow. Emily ran toward the driver. "Let me off." He did not respond. She struck the plastic screen. "Stop the bus!" In the mirror, the darkness beneath his cap shifted. For 1 second, Emily saw his face. There was no skin. Only a smooth black surface with a wide vertical crack where his mouth should have been. The old man with the hospital bracelet grabbed her wrist. "Sit down," he said. "He doesn't like noise." Emily looked at his bracelet. Daniel Carter, her father's name. Her father had died when she was 9 years old. "Dad?" The old man tightened his grip. "Emily, listen to me. When we reach Blackwood Bridge, the driver will ask where you belong. You must say you belong with the living, no matter what you see. Do not ask him to take you back." The bus continued through streets buried beneath decades of snow. Each stop belonged to a different year. At one corner, factory workers waited beneath a sign dated 1954. At another, children in school uniform stood under a blood-red moon. The soldier stepped off beside a battlefield. The 2 teenage boys departed near the twisted remains of a car. The windows began to fog from the outside. Words appeared in the condensation. "Emily, come home," a familiar voice called from beyond the glass. It belonged to her mother, who had died 6 months earlier. Outside the window, her mother walked beside the moving bus. She wore the blue dress Emily remembered from childhood. She looked healthy and young again. "Please," her mother said. "Don't leave me alone." Emily reached toward the window, but her father caught her hand. "That isn't her." Her mother's smile widened. Her jaw stretched lower than any human jaw could. Black water poured from her mouth. "She blamed you," the thing whispered. Emily shut her eyes. The creature struck the glass. Once, twice. Then dozens of hands appeared outside the windows. Dead relatives. Former patients. People Emily had failed to save. They pounded the bus and screamed her name. The driver laughed. It sounded like metal dragging across concrete. The bus reached Blackwood Bridge at exactly 2:13. Below it, the frozen river looked completely black. The bus stopped halfway across. All the doors opened. Snow blew through the aisle. The driver slowly stood. He was impossibly tall. His head nearly touched the ceiling. The vertical crack in his face opened. Inside was a tunnel filled with distant human voices. "Emily Ann Carter," he said. "Where do you belong?" Her father squeezed her hand. "With the living," Emily answered. The driver tilted his head. "Then why did you carry the fare?" A memory returned. Emily standing outside her mother's hospital room. A doctor telling her she was too late. Emily sitting alone in the chapel and whispering that she wanted to see her mother. Again, she had found the strange coin beside a candle. The driver extended his hand. "You asked for passage." Emily shook her head. "I was grieving." The driver pointed through the open doors. Her childhood home stood beyond the bridge. Warm light glowed in its windows. Her mother waited in the doorway. Her father stood beside her, young, smiling, and alive. A dinner table waited behind them. It was everything Emily had lost. "Come home," her mother said. Emily stepped toward the open door. Her father on the bus held her back. "That place is made from your memories. If you enter, it will feed on them until you forget who you are." The driver extended one long hand. "One step, and you will never be alone again." Emily, her to Aniras, her father remembered Christmas mornings. her father carrying her on his shoulders, and her mother singing while she cooked. She remembered the last voicemail her mother had left. Emily had been too busy to answer. "I should have been there," Emily whispered. Her father's frozen fingers closed around hers. "You were there for hundreds of people who had no one else. But not for her. She knew you loved her." The driver moved closer. The lights inside the bus turned red. "You cannot save the dead," he whispered. "But you may join them." Emily looked at the passengers. Every one of them had chosen this bus because they could not release the past. Route 13 did not collect the dead. It collected the guilty, the lonely, and the grieving. People willing to trade tomorrow for one more moment yesterday. Emily tore her ticket in half. The bus screamed. Its metal walls bent inward like ribs. The driver's mouth opened from his chin to his forehead. "You paid the fare!" Emily threw both halves of the ticket through the open door. Belong with the living. The childhood home vanished. Her mother disappeared. The bridge began to collapse onto the Black River. The driver lunged. Her father pushed her through the rear doors. Emily fell into the snow. As the bus tipped over the edge, she saw her father through the window. He was smiling. His lips formed 3 silent words. "Go live, Emily." Then Route 13 disappeared beneath the ice. A police officer found Emily beneath Blackwood Bridge 3 days later. She was standing barefoot in the snow. Her nurse's uniform was dry. Her body temperature was normal, but her hair had turned completely white and deep wrinkles covered her face. Diddled her fart. According to hospital records, Emily was 29. The woman beneath the bridge appeared to be at least 70. Emily claimed that she had spent more than 40 years trying to escape. Every night, the bus returned. Every night, the driver asked where she belonged. And every night, she gave the same answer. With the living doctors, placed Emily in a psychiatric facility. She refused to sleep after 2 in the morning. She covered every buoy or Karmartrod, ate every mirror in her room. Whenever she heard a vehicle outside, she began tearing pieces of paper in half. 6 weeks later, a nurse entered Emily's room and found it empty. The window was locked. The door had never opened. On the bed lay a single brass coin. One side showed the number 13. The other showed an open human eye. The following morning, the city received reports of an old bus traveling through the snow. Witnesses said it had no license plate, no driver, and only one passenger. An elderly woman wearing a nurse's uniform sat near the rear exit. She pressed both hands against the window. She appeared to be screaming, but the bus made no sound. At 2:13, it crossed Blackwood Bridge and disappeared. The city searched its transportation archives. Route 13 had existed. It was cancelled after a bus crashed through the bridge railing in December of 1999. 13 passengers died. The driver's body was never recovered. Investigators found a photograph taken shortly before the accident. The driver stood beside the bus. Behind him, staring through the rear window, sat an elderly woman with white hair. She wore a nurse's uniform. Her name was Emily Carter.
So, if you ever find yourself waiting alone after midnight
and an unfamiliar bus arrives without making a sound, do not look at the route number. Do not accept a ticket. And whatever you do, do not tell the driver that you want to go home, because Route 13 always takes its passengers home, just not to the year they came from.